Perhaps many of us are asking the question of why we are here. And the world has undoubtedly searched and is looking for the answer to this question in every period. Now let's take a closer look at what the thought is, which is a purely human attribute, and that poses this fundamental question. Why does evolution exist? What is the reason for all the diversity? What is the purpose of the visible world and the invisible universal intelligence? Why does the human organism, the highest form of nature, exist? When the whole of nature comes to an end so that there is nothing left but its internal communication system, that is, the cosmos of all nature, that is, if it is a whole with its mind, its effect and its conception, it must be a product of this organism, a result. But we do not see an organism higher than the human organism. We do not see a higher structure than the human brain. So what is the purpose of the human brain, which is the ultimate result of nature? You will be surprised when you hear it. Transcendent to nature is the ultimate sublimation of thought. If we think of nature as a whole cosmic communication medium, nature as a universal mind, which we can think like a great brain, what will be the result? Result, thought. What is thought like that all nature came into being to produce it? All existence ultimately produces thought. This may sound quite surprising. Nature is the product of energy, but we do not see the forces of nature, we only witness and observe what emerges in nature. Forces are invisible beings. In human beings, we can call these forces competencies, also called potentials. There is a hierarchy of fields that appear superatomic and not subatomic. Force arises in manifestation, and the force behind what we call reality is the law in our consciousness. Nature law. The law is not in nature, it is in human consciousness. That is, the law is in human thought. We call the formulas themselves the law. What is the truth of this? How many grams of matter turn into energy? With the experiment, we observe this and calculate it. If 1 gram of uranium explodes, that much energy is released. We can measure it. We know. But the law is the formula. There is no law in nature. The law is not in nature, it is in human consciousness. There is a relationship of forces in nature. In nature, we cannot find the world that we call the inner world of man, the movements of thought such as mind and intelligence. These are human qualities. When we look at history, we see the evolution of thought. All phenomena or appearances are products of thought. There is certainly a contradiction. It is worth pondering insistently that thought never ceases to destroy itself and recreate it as more developed. There is nothing in this world that human thought cannot interpret. The illusion we live in and call reality is quite eye-catching. Since thought is holistic, we can call these illusions of the mind illusions. Thought creates everything. Whatever we talk about the world, we are talking about thought. How can we transform this world that we have created for ourselves? How can we recognize the truth? The most important thing is to be able to interpret what is happening correctly. To reach the universal mind behind the phenomena. We can observe evolution between species, it seems, we are witness to what is happening before us. When we do the science of biology, we also prove that they happen through leaps, through mutations caused by DNAs, ribosomes, and the like, that is, caused by an intrinsic dynamic. Okay, but we're talking appearance here. All biological evolution only shows us what is visible. It shows what has been affected. We don't see the force behind that brings out all these looks. There is no theory of the influencer. We can think of it as the mind, which is the force in nature, and then the unity of forces in the last stage of nature, and the basic force within them is intelligence. Intelligence is masculine, and cosmic intelligence reveals its manifestations. And in these manifestations, intelligence itself does not evolve. We see the hierarchical unfolding of its effects as evolution. Therefore, while there is speculative opening, there is evolution rationally. If we do not see this opening speculatively from inside, there is only one way to see it from inside. To organize our thinking that way. It is thought that sees, recognizes and grasps. The thought of man is his inner world, and the force that activates the thought is in nature, the intelligence. The form of connection between the appearances is the universal mind. If the mind in the form of context can form a mechanism that can show all objects existentially, but by deducting not individual objects but their universal concepts from each other, they can show each other's inner relationship, we call it systematic thinking. What do we mean by the term systematic? We mean the expression of thought in a structured and coherent manner. If thought is expressed by adhering to a certain method, it means that intellectual regularity has occurred, which is called systematic thinking.